Hey everyone, this is Scott from Forgot to Grow Up. Welcome to the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Season 1 Thoughts video. I just finished watching the first season of the Dark Crystal, and I'm just going to be sharing my general thoughts on the season. So yeah, I just finished watching the season, and this season is a prequel, I believe, to the original movie, and we see the Gelfling versus the Skrexis in order to try and save Thrawn from the Darkening. Yes, this is very fantasy, very fantasy based show, but I really enjoyed it. I went into this with very limited knowledge. I knew what the Dark Crystal was. I knew that it existed and that it was puppets. That was my knowledge going into this. I definitely had seen the movie when I was a kid, and throughout this season I was definitely having some moments of like, oh, I remember that character. I think our character that looks like that character from the past, but that was the extent of it. So I went into this very like, new to the series. This was just a completely fresh thing to me, besides knowing that, it's based off of a previously made movie. So yeah, going into this, I was a little like, I don't want to say hesitant, but I was curious to see if this was going to be friendly to people who weren't familiar with the franchise. And I thought they did a really great job of introducing the Dark Crystal kind of world to us, introducing us to Thrawn and all the people that make up the Dark Crystal world. And I thought they did a really great job. In the very first episode, we get pretty much a quick rundown of Thrawn, the background information on all of the different parties involved, all the Gelfling, and how there's 7 clans of them, and what the Skrillex, or not the Skrillex, the Scars, I can't really say their name, but I like them, the bad guys in this, in a sense. Skrexis? I'm not really sure if I'm saying that right. The point is that we get a quick little like background to them. I thought that was really great for, like I said, those of us who are going into this with really not much knowledge of the Dark Crystal world. So I thought they did a really great job just giving us a quick little intro of like the basics. Like I said, who are the main character, or not the main characters, the main parties in this, the Gelflings in them, and then why we're in this certain scenario. With that being that the bad guys had been corrupting the crystal, making the crystal of truth, making it into the Dark Crystal, and that's what's bringing on the darkening. So I thought they did a really great job introducing it to introducing the world to us newbies. So I thought that was really great. I really enjoyed the characters that were involved. I can't really give you too many of their names. I didn't write any of them down. A and B, there are other ones I'm going to have trouble pronouncing because I'm just bad at pronouncing things. But I thought they were all pretty great. None of them annoyed me besides the one chick's sister, but that was part of her arc, so, I won't say too much about it. I really even enjoyed the villains. They were disgusting. They were creepy. You wanted them to lose, and I thought that was great. I love that Mark Hamill sounded almost exactly like his Joker voice, but just a little bit more like a bird, which just it was just a fun little thing every time the scientist was talking about being one of the Skrexis. But yeah, I thought this was just a really fun fantasy adventure, for me at least. I get that this is based off a pre-existing thing, but for me it was just a fun fantasy adventure. I thought the plot and the story of the season was really well done. It was really interesting. It intrigued me right away. I watched the first episode, and I was really immediately like, okay, I gotta watch all 10 of these episodes this weekend to follow this story, and I wasn't disappointed. I thought the overall first season did a really great job of, bringing we follow 3 characters mostly throughout this in their adventure, and how they all kind of come together to, fight, rise up, hence the name Age of Resistance. So I thought this was really well done. I like the what's her name, Mother something character. She was really fun. I like that. She just does not take any shit from anybody, and she's all sass, and that was great. I thought this was visually amazing. Obviously, from the trailer, we already knew it looked great, but even throughout the whole season, I felt they just did a really great job. The transitions between using puppets to certain CGI scenes, because they did use CGI to show certain characters sometimes running up stairs and stuff like that. That's not as easily done with puppetry, but it was a lot of puppetry, and I thought it was really well done the way they would transition to the small use of CGI. Just very small, like a couple seconds, they'd have to use CGI for, like I said, like running up the stairs or some little scene like that. But I thought it was really well done to give us, or those wider shots, I should say, or other shots that they also used that kind of, they had to use CGI a little bit more when we're doing like a big shot, give us a little bit of the scenery. A lot of the scenery was a nice mix of actual, it seemed like real sets and real locations with a little bit of CGI to give us a little bit more of that fantasy feel. I'm really curious to check out the making of film that they have for this to see a little bit more about like where that line was drawn. Because for me, it was a little, not impossible to tell, but sometimes I was a little bit like, ooh, was that a set they built, or was that a location they went to, or is this all CGI? And they're just doing a really great job. So I'm really curious to check out the making of for this season. But yeah, it was really well done. The only thing that took me out of it a little bit was the talking matching up with the puppet's mouth, but that's something, that's just part of what you have to kind of adjust to when it comes to watching this style of storytelling. And so it just took me a few episodes to kind of get it, 'cause it doesn't line up perfectly, but it's still well done. But yeah, so I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a well-paced season. Despite it being 10 episodes, I thought they didn't feel that long. They were about 45 to 50, almost an hour each episode, are typical Netflix length nowadays. But I like that they stuck to like a 10 episode season. If 13 probably would have been a stretch, but this 10 didn't feel like a stretch at all. I felt it was really well done. The story, especially since they were balancing three main stories, following the three main characters we kind of get introduced to in this season, and how they all play a part into the Age of Resistance. But I still thought they did a really good job of balancing the three storylines and keeping it well paced, keep balancing us between them, getting the villains' point of views and stuff like that. So I thought it was really just well done overall. And overall, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. To be honest, I expected to like it, but the puppetry stuff, like when I was younger, I did not like this stuff as much. It freaked me out a little bit more. So as I've been revisiting this stuff more as I've grown older, it's interesting to see that I do enjoy the storytelling a little bit more, particularly how well this one was done with, from giving this kind of almost classic hero's journey, but also kind of splitting it up a little bit. So I just really enjoyed it, especially particularly having like the three storylines, or even more than three really, but we had the three main characters who we were following, and just all coming together. I thought it was just really well done. So yeah, I would recommend this to people who are fans of fantasy TV or movies, things like The Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. This is a very big fantasy thing. If you don't have a problem with puppets, then I think you'll enjoy this. You don't really, like I said, you don't have to know the Dark Crystal. You don't have to see the Dark Crystal movie before watching this, because they do a great job of kind of bringing you in, and the season itself does stand alone on its own away from the movie, I feel, since I can't really remember anything about the movie. So I still felt it works as its own little thing if this is going to be your intro to the Dark Crystal, as it kind of is for me. But yeah, so I'd recommend this to fantasy fans and people who enjoy stuff like that. Obviously, if you're a fan of the Dark Crystal, you probably already watched this and you probably enjoyed it, I'd imagine. But if you didn't, be sure to let me know in the comments below. I am curious to hear what everybody who have seen it have thought, and if you're planning to watch it, be sure to let me know also in the comments below. That's all my thoughts for this one. Be sure to let me know in the comments below what you thought about this season, or if you are planning to watch it. Like I already said, I'm repeating myself. But yes, thanks again for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and have a good one.